I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the bacon. I just have a regular baking sheet and I'm gonna put this cooling rack right on top. Next, I'm going to cut this whole pack of bacon in half. See if this will work. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Beth. If you're new here, I'm really excited that you stopped by. I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. For the month of January 2025, my husband and I and our oldest daughter did the carnivore way of eating. And in this video, I just kind of included a lot of what we prepared. This isn't everything we ate, but it is a good representation of our month of January. From here, we're going to pop this pan into the oven, a cold oven, and then I'm going to set it to 400. The recipe that I saw said 28 minutes. I'm going to start with 25. The bacon that they showed in their picture looked a little bit overdone, so I'm going to start at 25. We might end up at 28. I mean, I do like crispy bacon, so we'll see how it goes. Also, this recipe I got from a group on Facebook called World Carnivore Tribe, and I will link it down below. I have found so many good resources and I've read so many good things about the carnivore diet in that group. So if you're on Facebook, be sure to check that out. What we've got going on here is a cast iron skillet with ground beef and some butter. I cooked that up together. My husband requested that I make that for him to take to work. And I believe what he did was he kind of divvied it up into different food containers, and then he added an egg with maybe some cheese, you know, scrambled the egg or fried it, added some cheese. And it was kind of like a little a carnivore bowl, ground beef, egg, cheese. He said it was very good, satisfying, and delicious. Now what I've got going on the other pan you just saw is more ground beef, and I'm putting together this cheeseburger soup. This recipe is from the cookbook called Carnivore in the Kitchen, and it is a fantastic cookbook that just kind of helps you be creative in the kitchen with carnivore. Because yes, the basic way to eat carnivore is just basic meat, eggs, maybe a little bit of cheese if you like. But this kind of just changed it up a little bit. So it helped us, you know, food fatigue is a real thing and you kind of get tired of eating the same thing over and over. But this was so good. It was comforting and warm and delicious. This day in particular was really cold, so we welcomed the soup. Now, I'm not going to include this recipe, but I will link her cookbook down below. And I will also include a link to her YouTube channel because she puts a lot of her recipes out there. But I would really love it if you would go over there and check her out because she worked really hard on that cookbook. So anyway, the bacon's coming out. It looks really good. So I just took the bacon out and I think it was around 32 minutes that I put it in. I don't know if it's done or not. I mean, it looks like it's pretty done. But I love this method because there's no splattering on my stovetop. You know what I mean? Yeah. Over here we've got the soup almost all the way combined. I'm just waiting on the cheese to melt. Now this was bagged shredded cheese. I'm pretty sure that it would be a heck of a lot better if I grated it myself, but I didn't have any to grate and I'm trying to use what I have already. So this is looking really good and I'm excited to try it, and so are the kids. So I have the temperature set on medium-low and everything has come together beautifully. I'm going to keep it on the lowest setting until we're ready to eat. This is not something that I normally do, but I am going to keep the bacon grease this time. I'm just going to put it into this here ball mason jar. Bacon grease. I have heard people refer to this as a liquid gold. This is not something that my mom did when I was growing up, and it's not something my grandma did that I can remember. I'll have to ask my mom, but I have done this before and it just hasn't been my favorite. But I feel like since we're doing carnivore and it's been a while since I've done that anyway, perhaps my taste buds have changed. But you can use this for like a cooking oil. For instead of whatever oil you're going to use, you can use this bacon grease instead. You can store it in your refrigerator or on your countertop, just whatever you're comfortable with. So anyway, here's to liquid gold. All right, so I got some soup. To the top, I'm going to add a little bit of cheese. And I'm going to crumble up some bacon. This smells so good. It's cold outside, so it's gonna be the perfect cozy dinner. Yum. So here's Robbie, and he is going to test the soup.
Oh, it smells like cheeseburger.
It does.
It is cheeseburger soup.
Might be kind of warm, so blow it real good. It's good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not terribly hungry, but I am gonna have a little bit of soup just so I can tell you how it is. And Serena also noted that it's very good, especially with the crunchy bacon. I mean, this has to be good. How could it not be good? That was my dog. They're over there playing. Okay. This is very good, especially with the bacon. It does offer a nice crunch. I didn't add any salt because I figured you could salt it when you eat it if you want it, but I feel like it's salty enough. It doesn't even really need pepper. I think it's got a really good flavor. Final thoughts on the soup. It is really tasty. It's also very filling. So even though I wasn't that hungry when I sat to eat a little bit, but there's Jocko. But I will say that even just a little bit filled me up, and both of the kids got full fast too. So just note that it might be a little bit filling. I'm not saying anything negative about it. It's a delicious soup. It's just very filling. So just keep that in mind. Don't serve yourself a giant bowl full. Just go slow and steady. All right, I'm hungry. Let's make some lunch. For the chicken salad I'm making today, I'm using 1 can of chicken. This is a 12.5 ounce can of white premium chunk chicken breast. You could also use grilled chicken chopped up, baked chicken chopped up, or like a rotisserie chicken. This is just what I have on hand. And so that's what I'm using today. I'm gonna add a little bit of cottage cheese. There's not much left in this container, so I'm just gonna use what's left. I'm gonna season with salt. I'm currently loving the Celtic sea salt. It's so good. And a little bit of fresh cracked pepper, as well as just a dash of onion powder, like granulated onion. So let's make it. So I drained the chicken all the way, just put it into this bowl. I just like to break up all the chicken chunks while there's just chicken in the bowl. It just makes mixing it later easier. This chicken salad is packed with protein. This can has 3.5 servings. Each serving has 15 grams of protein. The cottage cheese, each serving is about 1/2 cup, which I think is about what's left in here. And that has 13 grams of protein in it. So I got the chicken all broken up nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and add this cottage cheese. Like I said, I'm using what's left in this container, and it is probably right at 1/2 cup, if I had to guess. Obviously, I'm not measuring, and I probably won't eat this whole thing. That would be a lot. So here's what it's looking like. I know it's not your typical chicken salad, like I get it, but it definitely does the job for low carb. It's so good. I was actually surprised yesterday, and maybe it's just because we've just been eating like grilled meat, but this is just a nice change of pace. It's got a good flavor. Okay, to that, I'm gonna add a pinch of Celtic salt. I'm gonna add a little bit of this onion powder. Just a little bit, like a little, maybe like a teaspoon. Maybe a teaspoon and a half. And I'm gonna go in with some fresh ground black pepper. Here's what it looks like, and it's delicious. It's simple. Like I said, it's not your traditional chicken salad, but it hits the spot. I just put some in a bowl. I'm gonna save the rest for lunch tomorrow. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna be honest. I do believe this would be better with rotisserie chicken, but because all I had on hand was canned chicken, it tastes so good. The flavor, just those little bits of flavor with the salt, pepper, and onion. It's really, really good. The texture is delicious. And I know because I had this last night for like a late dinner, this has so much protein, it will definitely keep you satisfied for a long time. So no complaints from me. This is so good, and I'm really, really glad that I tried it. Carnivore coffee today. Black coffee. One browned butter bite. I just took this out of the freezer from a silicone mold. Let it melt. Add a splash of heavy whipping cream. Mix well. I like to use this frother. The browned butter bites are touted in the carnivore community as a really good sweet treat, a little bit of a dessert. We were not a fan of them by themselves, but I really enjoyed it in this application in coffee. Really, really good. I'm gonna add a little more coffee. I didn't mean to add quite that much cream. Done. These egg cups are one of our favorite ways to prep breakfast ahead for the week. And this is even before we were ever even thinking about a carnivore way of eating. It's just really, really good. Low carb, filling, so tasty. And I love making this with Canadian bacon. Later in the video, I do show making the same recipe with breakfast sausage ground up too. That's also really good, but this one's our favorite. And I like to put them in the fridge. My daughter, our oldest daughter, will take them to work, or and then my kids, we homeschool, so they like to have them in the morning for breakfast. It's just a really great, easy, delicious way to start the day. Makes for a great snack as well. And I'm telling you, they're so good with the Canadian bacon. That's my favorite way to have them. Very basic. I just add a little bit of salt and pepper to the eggs. You saw that I lined the bottom of the egg cups with the Canadian bacon, and it's okay if they get torn. The bacon isn't supposed to be like a cupcake liner at all. When you use the silicone molds like this, they just pop right out so easy, no matter if the egg gets underneath the bacon. It's fine, totally fine. And yeah, these are so good. We also make another one. It's not carnivore at all, but it's like a McGriddle egg muffin type thing with a little bit of maple syrup, sausage. I think it's got pancake batter too. So one day when we're far from the carnivore low carb, my kids really like that as a treat too. They taste sweet, savory, so good. But yeah, these are like 10 out of 10. One of our favorites. Pop them in the oven. Here they came out, beautifully done. So tasty. And then I'm going to show you how simple it is to just pop them out of the silicone mold and just store them in the fridge in a little container. So, so good. If you've never made these before, I cannot recommend them enough. They're delicious. For dinner tonight, I'm setting up the crock pot. I've got about 5 pounds of stew beef, 8 ounces of butter. It's grass-fed butter. I cut it up and just kind of put it all over the top. To season, I'm going to add some of the blend as well as a buttery steakhouse. Normally, last time I made this, I used salt and beef broth, but I'm all out of beef broth. So I'm just going to do it a little bit differently. And I think this is going to be really good because we do love these. Let's go ahead and add some of this, the blend. The blend is just salt, pepper, and garlic, which is a good classic seasoning. And then buttery steakhouse, just got a nice zing flavor to it. I really enjoy it. And I'm just gonna once the butter melts, I might give it a stir. But for now, I'm just gonna let this kind of hang out. Okay. I think that looks good. I've got it set to low for 6.5 hours. It's gonna be delish. To make this chicken crust pizza, we are going to be using 1 can of chicken breast, 1 egg, a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. We're gonna season it with this Italian herb seasoning. We're gonna mix all of that in this bowl, flatten it out into a circle shape like a pizza crust on this baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Then the toppings we're using today, we're going to shred some mozzarella and use some pepperoni. But of course, you could use whatever you have on hand that you are in the mood for your pizza. So let's go. You are witnessing the first mistake of this recipe. We should have drained the chicken first. The couple of recipes that I found online didn't specify to do it or not. And one video that I watched, actually, they did not drain theirs, and it just seemed to turn out right, but it does not. So make sure you drain your chicken first. Then you're going to add Parmesan cheese, you're going to add an egg, and I will have this recipe in the description box below. It's so easy and surprisingly really, really freaking good. My husband is a lover of the pizza pie. I'm going to tell you right now, it's one of his favorite foods. I mean, mine too, the kids as well. And this was really, really good. And the flavor profile of the pizza was all there. You don't have to season, like we don't have to add the Italian seasoning, but we did. I think it made a really, really good flavor for the crust. And I'm telling you, I thought this was going to be so weird. I could not fathom how this was going to be good. It's so good. So if you're doing carnivore, try this out. It was, totally worth the effort. And my husband, Brandon, did add pizza sauce on his. He wanted to have that on there. Our daughter, Carmen, here is, and she's helping me in this video. So I'm videoing and she's doing all of the food prep, but we opted to skip the sauce, and it was good without the sauce. It was also good with the sauce because we made it again later in the month and we did add sauce. Anyway, long story short, however you want to make it, it's so good. Don't sleep on this recipe. It seems weird, but it's so good. Be sure to drain the chicken. I can't say that enough. This is the first one that we did not drain, and it ended up being kind of messy, and I had to cut off some eggy parts that kind of cooked out the edges. This one we did drain the chicken first. It looks much better. And then we topped them with cheese and pepperoni and put them under the broiler and got them a little bit melty, and they look so good. We'll let you know how they taste. Olivia just tried the one that we did drain the chicken. My dogs are fighting. And I'm going to try the one that we didn't, just because I don't want it to go to waste. And I feel like it's not quite as crunchy as the other one. It's a little softer. But I'm going to give it a taste test right here with you. I mean, it's giving pizza. We didn't put any pizza sauce on our pizza because that's really not carnivore. So I feel like it would be better with pizza sauce. It would be more like a real pizza. But this tastes really good, and it's definitely something different. It's not ground beef, it's not steak, it's not just regular chicken. It's a good different flavor. I would say this is carnivore approved. So here's the top of the pizza. And here's the back. Like I said, this one is definitely softer. So drain your canned chicken if you're going to use canned chicken. I saw you can also use ground chicken as well. but I like to use what I have on hand, and that's what I had. So anyway, look at that. Bon appetit. It really is good. Not only did this taste really, really good, but it also was very filling. I guess the protein is just so high. It was really, really satisfying all the way around. I think I had half of this pizza and felt totally good for the evening. Next up is carnivore sausage balls. Now these are similar to the ones that you might make at Christmas time with Bisquick. It just doesn't have the Bisquick, and it's obviously made a little bit differently, but I had a 2-pound roll of ground sausage. I'm cutting it in half because I'm going to use half to make the egg cups with ground sausage, and this half I'm using to make the sausage balls. Normally I wouldn't want to do this with my hands, but I feel like that's going to be the best way to get everything incorporated. So again, I've got the sausage, cream cheese, and shredded cheddar. Yep, this is not my favorite. If you're looking for an appetizer, a tailgate food, a little finger food, and you are carnivore or low carb, these are so good. I was not surprised. I mean, look, it's sausage, cream cheese, and shredded cheese. How could it not be delicious? It's obvious, but they're so good, worth the effort. It was even worth it to get my hands in there and mix them up myself. I know I could have put on gloves, but it is what it is. And they were delish. So we are actually going to make these this weekend. You know, the big game is coming up on Sunday, and we will have these available for our guests and ourselves for the game. And we're going to do some grilled wings, also some pulled pork barbecue. My mouth is watering thinking about it because it's going to be so good. Now we will have other food as well, but these are going to be fantastic carnivore options. So tasty. After I scooped the meat mixture out with the little cookie scoop, I did go through and roll them all by hand. I just wanted them to have a nice shape. I don't know that it made that big of a difference, but it's what I did, and I love the way they turned out, so that's the way that I will make them again. So when I make breakfast egg cups, I usually do 1 egg per muffin cup. So I'm going to do 12 eggs here. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. Going to whisk these together. Sometimes I like to add salt and pepper. Today I'm just going to do nothing because the sausage has plenty of seasoning in it. And normally I would like to add peppers and onions, but since we're doing carnivore, I'm just going to do protein, so just the meat, the eggs, and the cheese. I filled each cup with eggs. It's got the sausage and the cheese. I'm gonna pop them in the oven when the sausage balls come out. So I took the sausage balls off the pans and I put them into this bowl, and I had one, and they are so good. They are not dry at all. Sometimes I feel like the ones that you make with Bisquick mix are a little bit on the dry side, but these are so the opposite, and they're really flavorful. They were so easy. So yummo. And I just took the egg cups out of the oven. They smell so good. They look really good too. Now, a lot of times these will be like really poofy when you take them out, and they will fall a little bit more as they cool. Here is round 2 of the chicken crust pizza that we did later in the month with the pizza sauce. These were so good, and one of them we did add olives. So good. Friends, I hope that you gained inspiration for your own kitchen on ways that you can incorporate some creativity in the kitchen with the carnivore way of eating. Low carb does not have to be boring. It can be delicious. Get a little creative. It's okay. And we were just so happy with everything that we tried this month. I hope you enjoy this video. If you did, it would mean the world to me if you would give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I so appreciate you being here. Thank you for adding a dash of gratitude to your day. I will see you on the next video.